Hello and welcome back. This is your coder Katie Becca, often going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow when online. And to start this off, I want to express a thanks to Cassie, one of the regular followers of these videos. She decided to kindly send a nice little holiday snow glue. It wasn't originally this big, I just like feeling small. With a beautiful card, I wanted to take a moment just to thank you myself, um, or thank you in video. It's it's nice to be appreciated, and this did help. This did make me feel appreciated. So thank you so much, Cassie. Anyhow, as much as I could perch on this thing all day, that would not actually contribute to us following the lessons of the day. Hopefully, people got all the corrections last week from where I had messed up on the previous video. Sorry about that. Just kind of proves that I'm human, not some perfect feline-shaped AI bot out here to enlighten and educate. Now, as we recall from last week, I had set it up, or taught you to set it up, so that you can get a simple click to get a list of everybody in your subscription list that actually outputs as code that you could replace your subscriber list here, which is a good way to make sure that that stays properly up to date. Now, there's two little things that doesn't directly address. One is it's not necessarily the simplest thing to get in there and adjust the code. I mean, it's not hard to do, but if you wanted to be able to appoint managers to handle it instead of having to do it yourself all the time, or if you had these in different places and you wanted to be able to update them centrally, a way to do that would be to set it up with a note card system. The other thing that you can run into is if you don't check it often enough, or if you get a lot of traffic through, you run the risk of it not being able to hold everything before it runs into a memory overflow issue. And that can be a definite problem. In most cases, it shouldn't. These scripts are allocated a significant amount of memory, and the characters required to identify an avatar's key do not take up very much of it. But it is a thing that can happen. So, the first thing we're going to address out of these three, which are ease of management by setting it up with a note card, the ability to manage it remotely using the note cards, and the ability to transfer inventory from one object to another, and the ability to alert you if it is getting close to overflow, and a way to purge that and still maintain everything you need. That one would involve sending an email. There is actually a way to send email to an actual address from inside SL, but that is kind of the last part of this that we're going to go over. The first part is to just set this up with email reading. Or, not email reading, note card reading. So for that, we would have the option of going back through previous objects here. In fact, that is probably the easiest way to do that, is just look at our previous items here. Right here, we have all the code that is necessary for reading a note card. Right from one of the old greeters, which is the data server, which is a key what, a string data, a simple check if the note card query ID, which is a key, matches what. The way that is set up is up here. If a given note that it's supposed to check is actually there, Then note card query ID, the key, becomes get note card line, which note card, which line. So assuming you already have this set up or have this where you can conveniently find it, you can just copy and paste. If not, go ahead and check out the previous videos where I went into this in much more detail. We already have, though, a data server, so that would make this slightly more complicated. We can't really do two data servers. You can't have two function calls with the same name. So what we're going to have to do is set up something where it will know what type of call it's receiving. So to do that, we're going to create a string called call. If call equals online, then we'll run all of this. That is the close for that. Close for that. Close that. Okay, I got those brackets done right now. Else if call equals note. This way it will treat the two different type of calls inherently differently. But that means we're going to have to add things up here. Call equals online. And up here, the other one. Call equals online. So in this case, in both cases where you would send a check to see if a given avatar's key is online, we're setting the call type to online right there. And in fact, we're going to make sure that I've got all of those. I think I do, but we're going to make sure. By copying request agent data, going up to edit, search and replace, request agent data. We're not going to fill in anything and replace because all we want to do, yep, those are the only two times request agent data comes up. So we know we've got them all. That is a good way for making sure that you go through and you're looking for any instance of something that we can go ahead and get that. We're also going to make sure that we clear at the end of this call equals nope. What that just does is it clears out the call so that if we have any problems with a call not being handled properly, that it's just going to be ignored. It's just a good way. It's not actually 100% required, but it's a good way of making sure that you don't have something doing a thing you don't intend it to do, which in a script this small, it's not very likely. But in something larger, it would indeed be possible. So now we're going to create a thing up here. We're going to create something that would call a data server call for a note card. So reader to create the function. We're going to have call equals, we set that for note. And now we can refer back to, that is not the thing I'm trying to refer back to. This is. We can copy and paste into this, or note, all of the code involved in reading note cards taken right from the greeter. This gives us a good start here. Now, we set that to something a little different there. We're going to need to tell it which line to use, so we need to have it come with an integer I. Reader line. Actually, given the fact that that line was already in there, the easier way to do that would be to just create an integer line up here equals 0. Simplify this just a touch. Instead of saying the thing on a channel, we want to be able to add it to list subs. Subs equals subs plus data. By what this is, if the data does not equal end of file, which means we're not reading the end of the lines of the note card, it will add to the list subs by saying subs is equal to whatever is in subs plus data. That is the data gained from the card itself. Just double checking if there's anything else I need from there, and I don't believe there is. It will increase the line, so it will go from line 0 to line 1 to line 2 to line 3. Each time it will call the reader again, which there was in fact one other thing I needed from that to save me the trouble of looking it up on the wiki again. There we go. We also would have to make sure that it has its own key option up here. They have to be global because they can be read in more than one location. And that has to match what it will receive there. What I just had to fix was to make sure that this query ID, which is the key that's being received from the data server, is in line with the note card query ID from up here. And I had, because I didn't copy the N over, I just went ahead and capitalized it, and then I repeated that through there. If you're just copy and pasting, bear in mind, that was a little bit of silly thing I did because of transferring stuff from one script to another. Not everything is always put together exactly the same, although it's beautiful for reference. So that was just a bit of ding battery I was going through there. Been a little stressed lately, so please have patience with me. Housemate health situation, not the best, but it should be resolved this week. Don't want to bog down class time with all that, but hopefully, fingers crossed, things should be starting to clear up soon. Fingers crossed. So now all we would need to do is trigger a call for note up here. The times you would need to do that are when you're initially starting the program up in order to properly fill or properly propagate this. We can actually empty that. New note card. Keys. There we go. Save. Did not have that capitalized in the script. So I should not have it capitalized here. There we go. And to make sure that it is adding them in correctly, we are going to, in each case, if debug, owner say, adding key 4, key to name, cast as key, data, there we go. And what did I do wrong? I did not semicolon that. I really have been working too much in Visual Basic. Visual Basic doesn't require the love of the semicolon. Okay, added my key. Stopped there. What did I do wrong? Order of operation. Okay, please pardon that awkward cut. I figured out what idiotic move I was doing. The reason it was, in fact, not working. I had the thing down here that set the call indicating the type to nope. The problem is it turned out that that was triggering between when the reader call went through and, or actually between when it reset this to note and when it processed the call. Basically, this triggered it queued this up to run, created the necessary key to pass on to the data server call, and then this set to nope. Because that suddenly became the call for a completely different function, so it continued down, ran the nope, and then ran this. It made so much sense in my head to go ahead and clear that just to prevent unexpected activity, and I wound up creating unexpected activity. I deserved to slap myself there. I deserved to have one of you smack me on the back of the head. If any of y'all figured that out on your own, that that was going to be a very bad idea, congratulations, you caught it before I did. Anybody who did not, I leave it in when I make mistakes like that and then talk about how I fix them, because I'm hoping that you can learn from it, that it will make you better debuggers. I have said many a time before, a okay programmer can write code. A good programmer can debug code. So that is how we set that up to be to read those keys from a note card. Now, the other thing we need to do is now alter the output to give us the list in a way that is set for the mailing, to actually do as a mailing list. And doing that as dump list to string is, we can do it, but we have to make a couple changes. The way we're going to make those changes is we're going to remove the thing that was creating those quotation marks. Actually, we're just going to change the entire thing. No, we should be able to make this work with \n. Remove those creating the quotation marks. And test. There you go. That /n was a line break. Put the keys on two different lines. So the next thing we're going to do is insert a line break before the dump list to string. There you go. Now it just puts it on those two lines. Copy. Paste. Now the last thing to do to make sure that that is all properly set is you want that to update itself automatically whenever you make a change to that note card. So event changed, integer type is change. We'll just insert that right above timer. And the type of change, you get different information here. What we're going to need is changed inventory. way it's processed is as an if statement. If changed and changed inventory, LL reset script. This will do a few things for you. We'll go over that in just a moment. You can also get it to trigger for if somebody alters, if anything forces it to alter the color, the shape, texturing, change link. That's if you remove a piece from a link set. That will trigger. Changed owner, if it's the point that it's given over to a new owner, this would trigger. If it changes region, so that's different from change teleport because that will trigger if you cross a sim border. If you have two sims that are neighboring and you walk across the border, changed region will trigger. Teleport will trigger anytime you teleport from one point to another, even in the same sim. So you can trigger different types of effects depending on the type of change that the object experiences. So it's actually a pretty useful function there. And setting it to reset script does exactly that. It causes the script to entirely reset. That will cause anything in the script to blank back to its default global values and go through its setup process, which is defined by state entry. And we've added the necessary code in state entry to read the note card, add the keys. The added advantage of doing it this way with a simple script reset is that it will automatically clear out any memory it's holding on to for who's been added, who's not. Which technically should stay the same based on who's subscribed, who hasn't, because we just modify the subscription list. But in a lot of things where you need to track information back and forth, having it set to just reset that way, very convenient. It's also going to be more important as we expand upon this than it is right now. Because as we expand upon this, it's going to go through and we're going to give it ways of holding information in case it crashes, which would involve writing information to either the description or the name fields for particular pieces of the object. We're going to set up a subscript to go ahead and hold extra information just in case you have a high traffic environment. We're going to do a few other bits of jiggery pokery in later weeks that can help you around certain problems. So the ability to reset and automatically blank any stored memory is going to become more important as we move forward. In this particular instance, merely telling it to reread the note card would suffice. So simply running the reader function there, as it is constructed right now, would do you just fine. So anybody who thought that that's all you need to do as it's built right now, you are absolutely correct. Later versions are going to have a little more complexity, are going to have a little more stored information, at which point using a reset is going to be a lot better for you. In a lot of cases, a straight reset, it's just good practice. Because if you're just in the habit of doing that, then you're not going to have to give it a second thought later if you're dealing with something more complicated. In this particular instance, it doesn't do you any harm. It gives you a little bit of time while it sets things up and adds everything together. You get a little bit of server lag in the moment, but you'd have this. It's pretty much identical to what you would have if you were just reading them in. And actually, I was slightly wrong. If you just ran the reader function, you would duplicate some of your entries probably. What you would want to do is have, let me pull that back over. You would want to have a line subs equals and then the two brackets and your semicolon. That would be to blank it out right there. Just clears it out. Anyway, so that should be enough for this week. So I wish all of you some happy holidays. We have one or two more videos coming before the actual holiday hits, but happy holidays anyway. And thanks again to Cassie. I really appreciated the little package there. So thanks to all of you who've been commenting more. One of you, actually, somebody who'd recently started watching the videos, had a question about setting up a door to rotate only its prim instead of an entire object. And the way that works is a set local rote. I believe I cover that in some of the later door videos. Hopefully you'll find it there. I'll also be responding to your comment. But again, thank you for following the videos and for being active in our little community. I realized last week's I forgot to put the Discord link in the description. I will make sure to correct that this time. But we do have a Discord server now where people can come together, actually talk about scripting issues or even other programming issues if I happen to know the answer, or if somebody else in our growing little community happens to know the answer, then they'd be able to contribute quite well there. I do eventually plan on carrying these over to deal with other programming languages than Linden scripting language, but I've got a ways to go with this one before I think it'll run its course. So I guess that's it for various chatter. Thank you again to everybody. Comments are greatly appreciated. It really does help showing me that you all are paying attention, that these matter to you. Questions and requests for particular types of lessons, these mailers are actually a direct response to somebody's posted request. So I definitely do pay attention to those. And these videos, I try to have them up every week by noon on Tuesday Eastern Standard Time. So I guess that's it for now. So as usual, this has been your coder, Kitty Beck, also known as Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow in most places online. So good day, good week, good luck, happy coding.